Okay, guys, we'll start with a broadcast section with no embargo, followed by an embargo section for 10:30 p.m. tonight. No live tweeting on the broadcast section. Please use the microphone provided. Paul.
Thank you. Hi, Ange.
Hi, Paul.
What can you tell us about team news for the Tamworth game, your approach to this game, and also Rodrigo Bentancur, how he is?
Yeah, all right, start with, I guess, Rodrigo. Yeah, look, mostly, positive news. He obviously went to hospital after the game, was concussed. They've done every check that they needed to do, and understanding is he's gone home now, so that's real positive news for us, because obviously it was a bit of a distressing situation that everyone had to deal with. But I think the players, Pedro did a great job initially of notifying our medical team, did a great job, and so now it's just about recovery for him, obviously, and there are set protocols in place, but aside from those set protocols, we'll make sure that we give him as much time as he needs to get back. And then aside from that, nothing coming out of the other night. Everyone sort of got through that pretty well, and no one really coming back in from the guys who have sort of been absent. So it'll be apart from Pape and Matters who are available.
It felt like a real statement win the other night. You saw at the end, the final whistle, that connection with the fans and the players and yourself on the pitch again. How much did everyone around the club just need that, just as a way of proof that this is what this team is capable of?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about proof, but I think reward is important, because we're going. I don't think one win changes anything, but we've been through a pretty tough time, and as I said all along, not through the want of trying. I mean, I can't commend the players highly enough in terms of their efforts. They've been giving maximum every week, but obviously without the ultimate reward. And as I said after the game, not just players, the staff who doing everything in their power to sort of change our fortunes, and our supporters have obviously sort of had to ride through that as well. So just that feeling of you get after a win, and like I said, a significant win against a top team, and in a pretty pivotal game for us in terms of keeping our hopes alive of making to a cup final. It was important, and that kind of stuff sort of fuels hopefully what's ahead.
It's quite a contrast to the next competition. You've played one of the best teams around at the moment in Liverpool, now coming up against a non-league team at their pitch. How important is it that everybody has their attitude spot on for a game like that, in terms of the mentality needed? The Premier League clubs up there as a scalp for this one? Yeah,
absolutely. I've got no doubt the attitude of the players. I mean, I think all along they've always had a great understanding of every game's importance, and we certainly will, go into Sunday's game with the same sort of mindset of making sure that we, do things we can control, play our football, put a real big emphasis on the things that we do really well, because there's always challenges out there. There's a fair difference in terms of the levels of football we're playing at, but I'm sure Tamworth see this as a great opportunity for themselves, and we've got to be ready for that.
Have you done anything different with your preparation, given the fact that it's an artificial pitch? Does that change anything?
Yeah, we'll train on artificial tomorrow on one of ours. I've done that consistently throughout my career. I've kind of experienced a few times in different leagues, even up in Scotland, where you're playing on artificial pitches, and it always sort of served a good purpose, just to give the players an understanding. They're never always identical, but just what they're going to face on Sunday. So we'll have a session on the artificial here tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Please.
Hi, Ange. How you doing?
I'm good, mate.
You must be relieved there's no VAR in this game, after the last couple of games you've had with VAR and your comments about it, both before and after games.
Yeah.
You are relieved?
Was that the question? Am I relieved?
No.
Yeah,
and actually leading into you giving an answer.
And my answer is
yeah, maybe.
No, I didn't say yeah, maybe. I said yeah. You asked me if I'm relieved. I said yes. So it's kind of.
How relieved are you then?
Oh, just look again.
How fed up with VAR?
No. Look, I'm not going to go. Look, I had my say after the game, and I felt I had to, because I needed to clarify my position on it. But at the same time, I'm also mindful, and I think sometimes I've overstepped the mark. Is that in some of those situations, I talk as an individual, as a person who, loves the game, is passionate about the game, but I'm also representative of this football club, and I just got to be careful about, how much I talk about this stuff. I'd rather talk about football, to be honest, and I think I've had my say on kind of those kind of events, and I've left it, to other people to judge. But I'd much rather talk about the football. That's where my interests lay.
So we're talking about the FA Cup, and obviously it's a bit different this season. I mean, it started last night on a Thursday, goes right through to a Monday. It's like a whole weekend. Do you think, as an outsider, in terms of being from Australia, do you think that we're losing the tradition of the FA Cup?
Oh, look, I don't know, but I still think it's a really important competition, and for that particular reason, because it includes pretty much every tier of football, and it's there's always great storylines within it. Already there has been in the early rounds of the Cup. We're meeting one of the sides that have got through to the main rounds, and I still think, FA Cup final days, one of the sort of marquee days in the football calendar, global football calendar. So I still feel like, I certainly feel like it's a really, like I said, important and tournament that maintains, the right kinds of traditions. And certainly in my eyes, I still see it as a really important part of the football calendar.
We've lost replays now, so there's no chance of Tamworth holding out for 90 minutes and getting a dream return at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But I guess for most neutrals, they always want the underdog to win. So how do you go into a game on Sunday whereby, with respect, you've probably got nothing to win out of the game? You win 5-0, people go, should have won 5-0, they're a National League team. If you lose, everyone's going to pummel you, and actually probably most people in the country would like you to lose because of the story.
Yeah, but while you say there's nothing for us to win, there is something for us to win. We get into the next round of the FA Cup, so there is a prize there. Now, we may not get the plaudits, but we do get the opportunity to go into the hat. So that doesn't change irrespective. Look, we won't be going into this game with any other mindset than preparing as we always do for a game of football, respecting the opponent, because you always need to respect the opponent. I've had enough experiences in my life of being the underdog, and I know that. You're kind of always hoping that the team you're playing underestimates you. Well, we won't be doing that.
Hi, Zara from ITV News. So my colleague's at the Tamworth grounds right now. AstroTurf pitch, apparently the dressing room's barely a cabin. I know you're used to that, but is this going to be a shock to the system for your multi-million-pound players?
They're actually not multi-million-dollar players. They're human beings who are very well... they're very understanding. They're good people, so they would never go to a place like that and disrespect it. Most of them have come from places like that, some worse, let me tell you. So you won't find, I know people want to tag them as multi-million-dollar sort of, maybe spoiled, but they're human beings and they're good people, and they'll go there and they'll respect the fact that, Tamworth are going to build it up for the biggest game of probably their lives, and I'm sure they'll do their best to create an environment where, they're going to be proud of their ground, they're going to be proud of their facilities, because that's what they work with, and that's how we'll treat it on the day. So I don't really think that's an issue for us. What's important for us is to prepare ourselves for, an important cup game.
Jay, please.
Hi, Ange. Does this weekend give you an opportunity to play some of the younger players? I'm thinking of Alfie Dorrington, Will Lancashire, Mikey Moore.
No. It gives me an opportunity to pick a team that I think will win the game of football for us. And the ones who will play will be the ones that I think, will do that. It's good getting Mikey back, obviously, and I think it's important we'll get him some game time on the weekend. But aside from that, it'll be a team that we think, most importantly, get us through to the next round.
Just on Dorrington, he made his Premier League debut against Southampton last month. Just wanted you to just tell us a little bit about him, because some of us, don't know a lot about him. He's only 19 years old, but he's now on the bench every week because of the injury situation. Yeah,
and Alfie's training with us, he's been part of the first team squad and around the first team squad. He had an injury, a pretty significant one, that kept him out of football for quite a while. So, he's part of the squad, and he probably needs to get some game time, so I'll probably look for a loan for him.
Finish with George, please.
And you just spoke then about sort of putting a team out to win the game. How kind of conscious are you that certain players, I'm thinking sort of Kulusevski, Solanke, Porro, they need to be rested at some point? Is Sunday a good opportunity to kind of give them a little bit of either 60 minutes out of the game?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, if again, it's got to be mindful of, like I said, we don't want it to kind of turn into a tricky game for us. We want to make sure we play our best. But if we can give some rest to some of those guys you said, and like I said, having Mikey back helps in that front third for sure. Getting Pape and Matters back helps us in the midfield area. We're still pretty restricted defensively, to be honest. But Sergio Reguilon, at least he's had some games recently, Reggie, so gives us a chance. But in terms of sort of centre halves and right back, we're still pretty limited to what we can do there in terms of rotation. But hopefully we can sort of rest at least a couple of the players from a full sort of 90 minutes of football.
And I wanted to ask you about Radu Dragusin, who I presume is going to play given the lack of options. He obviously had a difficult game against Liverpool in that 6-3, plenty of other players, but he was very good on Wednesday, made the key clearance. How much sort of growth have you seen with him? Because he's 22, isn't he? And people forget that, but he's had to be a leader of a very young defence. Yeah, no,
he's... look, I've said all along that some of our players at times are getting unfairly sort of judged at the moment because of the situation we're in, and it's not just that Radu's kind of like I said, he's only 22. He's still kind of getting to grips with the Premier League. It'd be okay if he was surrounded by players who are playing regularly, but he's got an 18-year-old who's not a centre back next to him. He's had 3 different goalkeepers since he's been, could be up to 4 now, since he's been in the team. Different fullbacks, and I just think him and Archie have been unbelievable for us, considering the circumstances, and we will get growth from that. I really believe that, and he was great the other night. He really sort of was focused and disciplined in his organisation, and along with obviously Tony making his debut, I think that's as kind of solid as we've been as a back 4, back 5. Well protected though. I thought the midfield did a great job of working really hard to keep sort of Liverpool. I think there won't be many games where Liverpool create as little as they did the other night, and I think that was a real strong collective effort. But we're happy with Radu. We're happy with the way he's developing, and again he's had to battle some. He had an illness last week. He's nowhere near 100%. He's had to battle through his own, and he's probably one that does need a bit of a rest. But we've got no options there, and every week he kind of mans up and gets on with it.
And just finally from me, I mean, the FA Cup makes it 4 competitions you're competing in. I mean, how sort of excited are you to be back in this competition? And even though you've got Europa League and potentially more Carabao Cup games, how much is this competition important to you?
Yeah, it is. It's hugely important. Obviously, last year we didn't sort of progress in it after I think we got through the first round, and the third round sort of dropped out. But we want to stay in it, obviously, and. At some point, hopefully over the next sort of few weeks, we'll get players back as well. So, even though it's going to mean a congested sort of fixture schedule for us, I think if we get the players back, are going to come back, I think we'll be well placed, and we want to stay in the competition. Once we get to that moment where we've got the squad we need, then hopefully we can make an impact in it.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there and move on to the Embargoed section for 10:30 p.m. tonight. Tom.
I just asked you about Timo Werner, because it's been a few weeks since the Rangers game. We gave feedback to him after that, and he played him since. He's started him since. I mean, what's his reaction been since that particular performance?
Yeah, look, again, like I said, it was feedback. It was what I honestly felt about that day. But I think he's made an impact. I think even on the weekend when he came on, he's got certain attributes that Timo's got. Can hurt any team. You saw that on the weekend. He's got a real turn of pace we've needed that in games at times, particularly late in games. But look, his attitude has never been a problem in terms of the way he trains or the way he's going about things. Like I said, I felt that day, particularly in the situation we were in, and him being a senior player, I thought he could have contributed more. But I think since then he's made an impact as we've wanted to, and like I said, there's certainly been never any problems with his attitude.
Just finally, there's some potentially leaving the club. Would you expect him to still be here after January?
Yeah, look, the last thing I want is losing another player at the moment, mate. Yeah, I think the other night after sort of Rodrigo went off, we had 11 first-team players out. No, we're not letting anyone go at this point.
What's been made about the pitch and the facilities? As you've already referenced, you've encountered quite a lot of that kind of stuff throughout your career. I was just wondering what's the most challenging pitch you've ever had to deal with? I was thinking maybe that pitch in Fiji.
Yeah, with the Toads. Yeah,
Can you explain a bit more?
that was true.
Than
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I was obviously at South Melbourne back in 1999, and it was the first sort of qualifying for the first ever World Club Championships in Brazil, which famously Man United pulled out of the FA Cup for. Never happened before or since, and fair bit of prize money at stake at the time, I remember, for a club like ours, and the final of that we had to play because we were in Oceania in Fiji. Against the Solomon Islands team, I think, if I remember correctly. And yeah, they warming up. There was Toads we had to remove from. We kept jumping on the pitch, and when you realise what was at stake at the time, you're kind of going, really. But when you realise it was at stake, like I said, fair bit of money, and the opportunity to play at the Maracanã against some of the best teams in the world. We ended up playing Man United, Vasco da Gama, in the Caxa of Mexico. It was quite extraordinary, and our president at the time, George Vasilopoulos, who's still around, he had these worry beads, mate. They got to working out that day. Let me tell you, he just kept thinking about our bank balance and seeing frogs and toads on the field. So yeah, it's an experience.
That's the 3G pitches perspective.
Yeah, I think all those things, and like I mean, obviously, there's a difference between, I don't know what is it, the 7th tier that Tamworth are playing in, but when we ended up playing Man United, we were a semi-pro team playing against, Manchester United, the great Manchester United, who won a treble, and at the Maracanã, there was a fair difference between us. But I can tell you, qualifying for that tournament actually probably destroyed our domestic season, because from the moment we qualified, players just didn't want to risk getting injured, or were just not interested in our league season. We had a disaster that season. They just didn't want to miss out on playing, and I think we ended up losing 2-0 on the day. But we gave a decent account of ourselves, considering, like I said, the difference. You're not talking 7 tiers. You're talking a fair difference between us. And it showed that on the day, some of my players who were, like I said, semi-pro, but good footballers, probably played the best game of their lives that day. So you kind of know that, Tamworth, they've had a couple of defeats recently as well. I think it's probably because their mind's been on this game. So what we're going to face on Sunday is probably players hoping to play the best game of their lives on that day. So that's why you've always got to be respectful of what you're going to face.
Dom.
You've spoken before about growing up watching English football and being a football fan. You've spoken about the Maracanã as well. I understand that you've got a job to do on Sunday, but do you think, from a personal perspective, you anticipate getting the chance to enjoy the occasion? I mean, the differences in facilities and sort of the novel aspect of it?
Yeah, look, I enjoy every game of football, like, irrespective. I don't think, I've never, I'm big on telling the players that, you don't dismiss any game of football. It's every single one of them's, we're blessed to be involved in. So, yeah, I mean, I enjoy every game of football, and I'll enjoy Sunday. Probably could have played another game and maybe be a lot less focus on us, but I think that's a positive thing. Everyone likes a good story, and they'll be, as Ian said, everyone will be rooting against us. So, but we're kind of used to that space as well. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think whenever you play in these kind of games, you understand and respect how passionate that they are about their football club, their community, and you've got to be respectful of that. And our job is to go there and also, put on a performance reflective of our standing in the game. We have a responsibility to do that too, to say, yeah, we are a Premier League team. We believe we're one of the best sides, and we want to go and show that, irrespective of their opponent. I think that's what everyone would expect.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Matt.
He tells you playing goal.
Not really. I don't see why I should do. I should name my team to you specifically, or any of you in here. But Tony will start. He the other thing about Tony, everyone's sort of talking about his kind of debut, but the Czech League shut down in the middle of December. He hadn't played a competitive game for 3 weeks, and I think he felt pretty rusty as well. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to get some more game time into him. He feels like he needs to play. Like I said, he felt, even speaking to him after the game, he felt a bit rusty in that he hasn't played a competitive game for a while. I mean, obviously it's a different game, but I think it makes sense for us to give him another game and sort of just get him back into the groove of playing football.
Yeah, well, it was an impressive debut, one that he grew into as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it. It's important that he sort of gets to know people.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think his last game was December 15th or 16th. So, and like any player, I think when you play games, you kind of get into that groove a bit quicker. So I think it's an opportunity for us to give him another game on the weekend.
Can I clear something up on Rodrigo? There's sort of a lot went around when he came off, and the distressing scenes probably sparked one or two theories. Can you clear up that did he bang his head when he fell, and did he swallow his tongue or anything?
No, see, but that's, and I said that after the game, Matt, because I don't understand these amateur kind of, we're talking about people's health and people's well-being, and I'm sure all of you protect your own medical records pretty closely, and you wouldn't want, public speculation about what you may. I mean, I had this with Mikey, and I think he was concussed. Okay, he's had every check. Everything is fine. There's nothing apart from the concussion, and we'll follow concussion protocols. There's nothing. So all these amateur kind of, I find it really distasteful, like I said, because we can literally just say anything these days, and people take no offence or not affronted by the fact that people have no basis for anything. As I said, I'm not part of the medical profession. I rely on the information I get, and he's good. He was concussed. Everything else checks out fine, and he'll go through the protocols. And aside from the protocols, we'll just make sure he's absolutely right before he starts again. Thanks, mate.
Dave.
I just wanted to go back to the mentality of the underdog. You obviously know it well yourself. Are there any stories from your own career that really stand out, maybe triumphs that you've had as an underdog that maybe you want to share with the players or anything like that?
I don't know, nothing specific. Sometimes I'll even tell them the Toad story. I think people are tired of my stories a bit. I kind of feel like I feel like Grandpa at the family gathering. Here he goes again. He's the old war stories. But I've been in that position a lot. Even even with the national team, Australia. We played the World Cup. We played the Netherlands after they thumped Spain in the first game, and pretty daunting. And we ended up losing 3-2. I thought we were unlucky on the day. But I've always felt that, especially football, more than any other sport, can be a real leveller in terms of the outcome, because in our game, still the hardest thing to do is score. When you've got such a disparity in other sports, the ability to score easy kind of doesn't allow for these kind of things. There isn't any other sport where you could get such an upset in a cup competition, apart from football, really. And that's because it is still a very difficult game to score goals in and really show the difference in level. So you always respect that, and that's what I love about the game. It allows people at all levels to dream, and it's why the FA Cup competition is such a great competition, because it allows every club, irrespective of level, that ability to dream that that the fairy tale story could be theirs. So like I said, I'm on the other side of the fence, obviously, this time, and I want to make sure that we also show our capabilities on the day as well.
Just one little fact check on the Solomon Islands Tone story. What was the surface that day?
It was well, toads like grass, mate. They don't like artificial up there, and they love ponds. There was a bit of water on there as well. So it was a combination of things that attracted them because it was a tropical sort of environment. So let's say to see.